He chosen not to move.
The whole gang is coming. Oh, it's two little ones. That's good. You can't really see much of anything.
Spilled my orange juice and it made its way onto my book a little bit. I am hooked. The slowest of slow burns. And I'm supposed to just, what, move on with my life now. That was a shocking ending. Hello. Welcome back to another video. So this video is going to be a dedicated read with me video. I did a couple of these before we moved and I've had some lovely comments from some of you guys saying that you really liked them and I really enjoy making them. So I'm going to do one today for two books that I'm very excited to read this summer. So without further ado, I am going to be reading What the River Knows by Isabel Ibanez. Now, when I heard of this book, I was so excited because my favourite movie of all time is The Mummy. And this book is set in the 1920s in Egypt and it is described as being The Mummy meets Death on the Nile. It says it's a lush historical fantasy set in 19th century Egypt, filled with adventure, rivals to lovers' romance, and a dangerous race. And if that does not just sound like everything that I love, I don't know what does. I am a little bit nervous because I love the movie so much. I'm a tiny bit nervous that the book, or I'll be comparing it to the movie too much in my head and the book won't measure up. But I'm going to try and go into it with as clean a slate of it as I can, not too many expectations. But I thought for this video, why just stop at one? Why not also get The Death on the Nile? I started reading Agatha Christie last year in autumn. I think it was Halloween Party, and I love Poirot. I think he's one of my favourite detectives. So I thought, what better time, what better excuse do I need than to read another one? There is so many. This whole long list down here is all of the Poirot novels that she's written. I'm not going to try and read them in order. I don't think it particularly matters. I'm just mood reading them based on season. So like I said, last autumn I did Halloween Party. It's summer, I'm doing Death on the Nile. I've wanted to read this forever, so I think it's a perfect excuse. And obviously these two books are going to go so well together. But I will be reading these with you. I will be sharing my thoughts along the way. I might give some spoilers away because I find it hard to talk about books without giving spoilers. So I will give warning if I'm going to give any major plot points away for this one. I'm not really sure it matters for The Death on the Nile because it's such an old book. I don't know. I'll give warnings for both just in case you want to read this but you don't want it spoiled too much. And then I'll be rating them at the end and updating my reading journal. So I hope you're ready. I hope you're excited. Let's start reading, shall we? Chosen not to move.
All right, darling.
Alright. Fringe is having a mad one. Alright guys, we are back home. It's 8 o'clock. I'm very tired. So this evening I think I'm just going to put The Parent Trap on now and watch that and update my reading journal a little bit and then go to bed, have an early night, and we'll try again tomorrow.
Sunblock, lip balm, insect repellent.
Hey, it's Sunday and I'm a little bit tired and I really want to have a cosy reading filled day and get really stuck into these books. However, I also live on a beautiful island and I'm a little bit incapable of just sitting inside when there's all that going on out there. So I think what I'm going to do is take a little drive around the island, stop off in some beautiful places and sit and read in the car. It's a little bit windy, so I think it would be a bit chaotic to read outside, but we're going to stop in some beautiful places and I'm going to read with the backdrop of Shetland. So let's go.
The whole gang is coming.
Right.
So the plan is, we're going to go get some snacks. We're going to drive around the island. We're going to go down all the little side roads that we've never been down before that look kind of cool. And we're just going to pull up and have a car picnic and read in the car. And just see what there is to see. Snacks have been acquired. Most importantly, lemonade. So let's go find somewhere to read, I guess. We pulled up at reading spot number 1. I've got the ocean in front of me with some beautiful hills and mist sitting on the hills. So it's going to be a very atmospheric spot to read. And I've got some lemonade. And I think I'm going to grab the ham salad wrap and eat that while I read. Oh, it's 2 little ones, that's good. Hello. You can't really see much of anything. Hey! We're at stop number 2, which is a very cute little church with a very cute little car park. We've come to spot number 3. We've saved the best till last because it's pretty special.
Good morning, it's day 3 of reading. I am loving it so far. As you can see, I have been tabbying away at all the little bits that I like. It's beautiful. The setting is luscious. I love our main character. I think sadly I'm taking a bit of a step away from fantasy at the moment. And it's not that I don't like the fantasy world or the fantasy elements. I've just been finding the characters not very realistic or believable even for a fantasy setting in all the ones I've been reading recently. And then I read a book like this and it's just such a breath of fresh air to have really rounded believable, realistic characters. And this one does have magic in it. So there is some elements of that. And I'm thinking maybe like urban fantasy is where I'm comfortable, just because the characters still feel like real people more often in those books. Anyway, I'm loving it so far. The only thing, and it's not a complaint, but the only thing that bugs me a little bit as well in blurbs and marketing of books is on the back of this one, it says arrivals to lovers, romance. And I know to a certain extent you could probably guess which two characters are going to end up together or fall in love or have a romance plot, but with the tropes nowadays, I just find like it ruins any sense of guessing or suspense, because we already know which two from that description are going to end up together. So that's my only slight bugbear with the way they market books, but the actual book is beautiful. I'm loving it. I'm very intrigued. I want to know more. Our main character has just arrived in Egypt and her uncle's trying to send her home, and she is desperately trying to find ways to stay because she wants to find out what's happened to her parents. And it's just such a beautiful world, a beautiful setting. I can picture it all so clearly. So it's lunchtime. I'm on my lunch break and I'm going to take my book down to the beach and read by the water for a little bit.
Okay, so I've come down to the local beach and I've just tucked myself a little bit away, slightly out of the wind, so that my hair's not in my face the whole time I'm trying to read. I've got my sunglasses on, but I don't know how good of a job they're going to do.
Beautiful foggy morning. I imagine this nice blowout that I gave to my hair this morning will not last long against the humidity in the air. We'll see. I spilled my orange juice and it made its way onto my book a little bit. It's lunchtime. We're going to go and read on the pier and maybe look for some cool rocks and pieces of pottery, because I think it's a pretty good spot. So I'm going to go read in a sec, but let's talk about the book. I am officially at the point where I don't want to put it down. I can't stop thinking about it. All I want to do is read it. I am hooked. Our main character, Inez, has just been discovered. She stole away on her uncle's boat ride down the Nile because he wouldn't let her come with them on the expedition, so she snuck aboard, but then she fell overboard and now she's been discovered. So I'm just about to read the fallout from that and I'm very excited. I don't really know where the story is going. Some seeds have been planted that maybe her uncle is not such a good guy. I'm not really sure. I feel like that might be a bit of a red herring. I think he might end up being one of the good guys. As regards to her parents, I'm a little bit hopeful that they're going to find them out in the desert somewhere, but I don't want to get too hopeful for that in case that doesn't happen. But that would be a nice addition to the story. So yeah, I'm going to go and read for a little bit and find out what happens now she's been discovered on the boat.
Some really cool ones. When we first came here, I was hooked on the rocks on the beach and I was so excited and I bring home so many rocks. And then one day I found a really cool piece of pottery with like blue flowers on it. And since then I've been hooked on finding pottery. That is the like ultimate treasure, because there's millions of rocks, but there's only a handful of pieces of pottery that you can find, and of those handful of pieces of pottery that you can find, there's only so many with patterns on, and of those so many with patterns on, there's even fewer with blue patterns on. So that has become the ultimate beach treasure. And obviously I still keep my eye out for cool rocks and shells and stuff and sea glass, but little pieces of pottery with blue patterns on is my like top tier beach treasure find.
I'm on day 5 of reading. I am 70% of the way through this book. I've read so much today and I want to talk about it. We went out for a little lunchtime picnic earlier and I didn't realise that my memory card was basically full. So I got about 5 seconds of footage before it ran out. But yeah, I've had a big reading day and I thought I'd update you. I thought I'd let you know my thoughts. So first of all, a little while back, whilst they were still travelling on the boat, we got introduced to another female character that seems to be just about the same age as our main character. And I don't know if I'm just a little bit scarred from early 2000s media, but whenever we get introduced to like a new female character, especially quite a way into the book, I just get so scared in case they're going to make it some kind of rival situation. Or there was this weird thing with early 2000s media where seems to be only room for like one female character, and if another one got introduced, she was this inherent competition and somehow annoying or somehow a threat. That does not seem to be the case so far. It's been quite a nice breath of fresh air. She's turning into a bit of an ally and a bit of a confidant. Seems like she could be a genuine friend. So I'm quite enjoying watching the way that that's unfurling. So Inez has been discovered on the boat because she fell overboard, and she's managed to convince her uncle to let her join the expedition. So they carried on their journey. They've made it to the island that they are doing their excavations on. I don't know how to pronounce it. I really need to check. In my head, this is how it's spelled. In my head, I'm just saying Philly. And that's probably not how it's pronounced at all, so I really need to check. But they've made it to the island where they're searching for Cleopatra's tomb. And this is, I mean, everything I've said up to this point is a spoiler, but if you really don't want to know, this is a big spoiler. I've just got to the part where her mum has revealed herself to Inez. And at this point, obviously, we were told that both of her parents had died. So I'm a little bit like, I knew it. Like, I knew they wouldn't really be dead. At least her mum, anyway. I'm a little bit like, I was right. But I'm at the same time a little bit feeling like this might be a trap. I'm feeling like maybe it's not really her mum. I don't know, because there's some element of magic in this world. We haven't seen much of it yet at all. But because there's some magical elements to this world, I'm a little bit worried that it's not really her mum and someone's tricking her. And by someone, I mean her uncle. Basically what her mum said, now that they've found all of this treasure in Cleopatra's tomb, her uncle will try and steal it and sell it illegally. So what her mum's asking her to do is basically steal it first and give it to her mum for safekeeping. And I just kind of feel like she's being hoodwinked. I kind of feel like she's been tricked into taking the stuff out of the tomb somehow by her uncle, or if her uncle's not actually the bad guy, by whoever is the bad guy. Maybe her mum is actually the bad guy. The scenes between Wit, Mr. Hayes and Inez, I am eating them up like it's the slowest of slow burns. If at this point I was going to sum up my predictions, it's that maybe her uncle isn't actually the bad guy, because I feel like at this point we found out so early on that I think there's going to be a twist where maybe it's not really him. Either that or it's going to take her ages to actually confront him and deal with it. But I think there's got to be some kind of twist, and I think maybe it's that her uncle's not actually the bad guy, or that her mum is secretly the bad guy, or that she's not really talking to her mum at all and her mum is dead and she's being tricked. That would be really sad if she thought her mum had died and then she thought her mum hadn't died and actually she's still alive, and then finds out that no, her mum's been dead all along. That would be really sad, but I just feel like it's a little bit sketchy what her mum's asking her to do. So either her mum's not who she thought she was, or she's not actually alive. I'm not really sure, but I will keep reading and I'll let you know how I get on.
Hello. I'm on day 5 of reading. Maybe day 6, I'm not sure, I'll put it on the screen. And I am currently sitting waiting for the ferry because Luke is taking his car to the garage to get it fixed. I am following in case he breaks down on the way, or in case they need his car overnight so I can drive him home. So I'm sitting waiting for the ferry. We've got about 10 minutes before they'll board us, and then it's like a 10 to 15 minute crossing. So I'm going to read now while I'm waiting for the ferry and while I'm on the ferry, and then on the other end I probably won't get to read again until I'm waiting for the ferry home. So it's going to be a light reading day, but I think I'm kind of happy about that because I've reached the point where I don't want this to end. I've tabbied this to death with like everything that I've enjoyed, and there's a lot of tabbies. I think I'm on track for this to be a 5-star read, but I don't want to jinx it and say it too early. I was right, by the way, about a lot of things. The mum is really the mum, but she is also the bad guy. So I was right about that. I felt like it was going to be a little bit too easy for the uncle to be the bad guy, and also what the mum was asking him to do was like highly sus. So nailed that one. They are just, as I am reading, opening Cleopatra's tomb. So anyway, I'm going to carry on reading. I'm going to stop blabbing and I will talk to you later on. I'm in lane 2, like the second lane that gets boarded, so I don't have to be too vigilant about turning my engine on because they're going to board this entire lane next to us and then us. So when they start moving, I'll have a heads up to put my book down and turn the engine on. I need to stop talking and read. We're going.
Where did the time go? How do we move so far away? Holding on, how much can we both take when love is in echo? I can't hear what you're saying.
We're on the ferry.
I can't hear what you're saying. Strong lessons run brighter. That makes us two fighters. And what I'm asking tonight is, could we get back to where
We're spinning. So that could mean we're arriving. We're here. Right, I gotta go. I'll catch up with you later, probably, when I'm waiting for the ferry home.
Are you still in your chair? Anyway, so an update. Did not read on the ferry home. We picked up a fish and chips on the way home and ate that in the car and on the ferry instead, so I didn't do any reading. But I'm back home. I'm a little bit tired. It's a bit of a grey day, so I'm feeling all the like cosy vibes. So I think I'm just going to sit in my office for a few hours and read, maybe see if I can finish this book this afternoon. So let's get cosy. Ooh. And I'm supposed to just, what? Move on with my life now. I've just finished. This is how much I've tabbied. The last part of this book was so action-packed. I still don't know how I feel about everything that's happened. There were some things that were shocking. And I still don't know why I'm surprised at cliffhangers, because how rare is it these days to have just a singular standalone book? Most books are at least a duology, and this, it seems, it's going to be a duology. Well, I think the second book's already been published, because this is not a new book. Well, this was published in 2024, but I think it came out in 2023. Which hopefully means I can move straight on to book number 2. Because, oh my god. It was one of them ones, I was reading it, and I was approaching the end, and I was thinking, there's still a lot to tie up here. And the amount of pages were shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. And then I thought we might have reached a good resolution, or at least a good resolution for this book. And then that last page, that very, very last page, where we get to see what Wit wrote down. What? I need to immediately go and buy the second book. What is it called? This last section is the first chapter of the next book, where the library hides. I need to immediately buy and read this book, because I'm baffled. Wit said that he had a plan, so I can only assume he's trying to pull off something, pull like a hijinks on someone else and not Inez. I don't know. I can't think bad things about Wit, so I can only assume that there's something else going on, but what? That last page, that single line, what does it mean? I don't know. I have not read the first chapter of the next book yet, and I don't know if I want to. I might not. I might just buy the next one and wait for it to arrive so I can binge. Or I don't know, because I really want to get some context about what that note means, but I'm scared. Sometimes, you know, in some books you read the first book and there's a love interest and you're hooked, and then you read the second book and they for some reason decide to turn them into an awful person. I'm scared that that's what's going to happen. I don't think it is. I think it's going to be part of some deeper goings on, and he's just trying to get out of trouble or get out of his engagement or something. But I'm scared that Wit's going to be ruined in book 2. I'm going to sit down and do my official rating for this very soon. I think I will discuss my review on this book when I finish Death on the Nile, and do that together at the end of the video. I feel like it's going to be a 5-star read just on my gut instinct. I use the CAWPILE rating system from the book roast, so I don't just do it on gut. I figure it out strategically, but it feels like it's going to be a 5-star. So I'm just going to try and gather myself, try and find a way to move on from this and read Death on the Nile. I might start it tonight, I might need some time to recover and start it in the morning instead.
Hello, it's the next day and I have absolutely no plans today, so I'm gonna settle in and see if we can get through this whole book in one day. I am optimistic because it's a sort of murder mystery, I wouldn't say thriller, but because it's a murder mystery crime book, you can sort of burn through these pretty fast. So I am going to settle in for a full day of reading and see if we can get this one boxed off. Okay, so I've just done part 1, which is the first 40 pages, and part 1 is characters in order of their appearance. This has taken a lot of concentration and it was quite a tough read to get through because we're being introduced to a lot of characters in very quick succession. So there's a lot to remember, a lot of people that we don't know all crammed into the first 40 pages, but I think it's setting up, we've sort of got the reasons why each of them is going to end up in Egypt at the same time, and a little bit of backstory and maybe some possible motives. I'm not sure, but
that was, yeah, a bit of a tough start, but I think it's going to be very useful information to know for later on. So let's power through. Okay, so when we first got introduced to the characters, Simon and Jacqueline were engaged, but now we're in Egypt. Simon is here with Lynette on their honeymoon, so he married Lynette instead, which was Jacqueline's very good friend. Jacqueline is very put out with it and seems to be following them around. Oh, hang on, let me put this down. Poirot was talking to Jackie last night and Simon this morning, getting both of their sides of the story about what had happened, why the engagement had been broken off between them two, and why Simon is now with Lynette. And they've used exactly the same phrasing. So what did Jackie say? Jackie said, "Look at the moon up there. You see her very plainly, don't you? She's very real. But if the sun were to shine, you wouldn't be able to see her at all. It was rather like that. I was the moon. When the sun came out, Simon couldn't see me anymore. He was dazzled. He couldn't see anything but the sun, Lynette." But then the next day, when Poirot was talking to Simon, Simon said, "My dear Monsieur Poirot, how can I put it? It's like the moon when the sun comes out. You don't know it's there anymore. Once I'd met Lynette, Jackie didn't exist." So they've said the exact same phrasing, which is odd. Okay, so we already know from the blurb that Lynette's the one that's going to get murdered. So far I'm very suspicious of Pennington, her American trustee for her estate, but Simon just seems a little odd. So I don't know. Okay, I like that. So Poirot's been chatting to Rosalie Otterbourne, and she's quite young. She's got a lot of quite intense emotions going on, and she's been having a vent about it. And she says, "There's something about this country that makes me feel wicked. It brings to the surface all the things that are boiling inside one." And then she says that she shouldn't be saying all this, especially to him. And Poirot says, "Why not say it to me? I am one of those who hear many things. If, as you say, you boil inside, like the jam, eh bien, let the scum come to the surface, and then one can take it off with a spoon." Which I think is quite clever, quite a fun way to look at it. Oh, and of course, Jackie made it onto the boat. Mrs. Allerton has taken a bit of a shine to Poirot, and she's sort of invited him to dine with them and keep company with them throughout the trip so far, because obviously he's on his own. Tim Allerton, the son, is not happy about this, but methinks he doth protest too much. Okay. This is very suspicious. So Pennington sat Lynette down and he was trying to get her to sign some legal documents, and she, because her family's had money, she's been rich all of her life, she's quite business savvy, she sits down and she starts reading carefully every document, and Pennington is quite put out by this and doesn't particularly want her to be reading them. So I think he's definitely done something dodgy with her money and he's trying to slip stuff past her. Her new husband, Simon, says he never reads anything, he would just sign where he's told to sign. And Pennington seems a bit like, I wish I was dealing with him instead. And then because Lynette says she is going to read everything, Pennington says, "Well, we needn't do all this now, it'll take forever. Let's come back to it later." So I think he was trying to slip something by her, for sure. Okay. Simon and Jackie, but mostly Jackie it seems, have just nearly escaped being squished by a big boulder. They were sitting at the bottom of this cliff thing, and it all of a sudden came rolling down towards them, which doesn't seem to have been an accident. They go pretty much straight away to get back on the boat, and they see Jackie disembarking, which means it couldn't have been her, because she wouldn't have had time to get past everyone and back down to the boat. And Simon seems oddly relieved that she's on the boat and it wasn't her, which is interesting. Ooh. So Jackie has just shot Simon in the leg, and it's all going off, isn't it? My questions at this point. Why did Simon want to stay up? Because Lynette had been in the saloon with Simon and Pennington, and then Lynette had gone to bed, Pennington had gone to bed. Why did Simon want to stay up? Jackie was already in there. It seems like he wanted to have time to see Jackie or speak to her, which is, again, odd. Why was Jackie all of a sudden in such a bad mood? She was looking to cause a scene. And now that she's shot him, why is Simon being so nice to her? And then obviously, the big question, who has the gun now? These are all the things that I want to know. We're getting towards the halfway point, I would say, and Lynette has just been murdered. Obviously Jackie has the biggest, or one of the biggest motives so far, seems to be, or would be, the most likely suspect, but she is the only one with an airtight alibi, and perhaps it would have been a little obvious if it was her. And it seems like, well, they've not definitely ruled him out, but I would assume that it would have been pretty impossible for Simon to do it as well. So that's going to open us all up to anybody else on the boat, really, isn't it? So I don't know. I'm going to have some lunch now and have a little ponder about what I think, and then I'll come back and finish. They've just been questioning Lynette's maid, Louise, in Simon's presence and asking her if she heard anything or saw anything. And it seems like she's hinting that she did see something. But if she did, why not just come out and say it? And if she didn't want to say it, why not just deny it? And it seems like she was hinting at Simon that she saw something. But why would she be hinting at Simon unless he had something to do with it? But he's been laid up with a shot leg. So surely it couldn't have been him. And so now Lynette's pearls, which are very valuable, seem to also have been stolen. So is that connected to the murder? Was she killed for her pearls? Or is there just a separate robbery that's happened at the same time as the murder that's going to massively confuse things? I don't know. So they've just been questioning Pennington and he's seeming more and more guilty. And it seems like he was the one that pushed the boulder off the cliff. Why does Simon want to see Jackie? Like, all of a sudden now she shot him, he's likes her again. Or is it all of a sudden now his wife is dead, he likes her again? It seems like he's going to get back together with her, which is icky and suspicious. Okay, I think it's sweet how Poirot is looking out for Rosalie Otterbourne, but it seems like she knows something that she's not saying. I think she saw something or someone and she knows who it is, but she doesn't want to say anything. Interesting to note that Jackie arrived late to dinner that night looking quite flustered, which could mean one of a few things, I think. Okay, so on announcing they were going to do a surprise search of the boat, the nurse, Miss Bowers, has come forward and said she has the pearls. She says she was covering for her employer, Miss Van Schulier, because apparently she's not actually sick, but she steals things. She's a kleptomaniac, and that's why she has Miss Bowers with her to try and temper that. Okay, the pearls are fake. The ones that Miss Bowers gave back. So the pearls that were stolen were the fake pearls, or were they? Or does someone have the real ones and the fake ones have been given back as a sort of cover? But why are there a fake string of pearls? These are the questions. Okay, interesting to note what they have discovered as well through this surprise search is that Rosalie carries a small pistol with a pearl handle, which is incredibly similar to Jackie's gun, the gun that was used to kill Lynette. been a second murder. It's the maid. It's the maid. It's the maid. The maid has been killed. The maid who was trying to probably blackmail the killer. Rosalie's still covering for someone, but it seems like it's out of fear, which I think is fair. At this point, I think it's fair that she doesn't want to get involved and doesn't want to say anything. Ooh, Mrs. Otterborn knows something. Oh, it's okay. It's okay. Everything's fine. It's not fine. There's been another murder. This is the third one. The third one. Right, so what's happened is Mrs. Otterborn knew something. She came to tell Poirot and Colonel Race. They were inside one of the cabins. She was just inside with the curtain on the door behind her. So the killer just stuck a gun through the curtain, shot her, and then managed to like run away and sort of blend in the seconds when everyone was sort of stupefied. That was pretty bold. That was a pretty bold move. And she was shot with Pennington's revolver. I feel like I'm playing Cluedo. Okay, I've been powering through this because I've not got much left to go at all. I've absolutely burned through this today. We're getting there, it seems. Poirot, I think at this point, knows who did it. I am completely in the dark. So is Colonel Race, I think. But he's questioning people one by one, and we seem to be on the process of cutting out people. Fanthorpe seems to be in the clear. Okay, and they've questioned Pennington next, who has admitted to fraud. So he had been doing something dodgy with Lynette's money. He's admitted to that, not admitted to murder. Okay, I wish that I had made my own case notes from the start, and that is 100% what I'm going to do for every Agatha Christie from now on, because I have no idea. I've got no idea who did it. At this point, like, we're so close to the end. Poirot knows, obviously. He's teasing Colonel Race by like drip feeding him the information, and obviously by doing that he's drip feeding us. I don't know. I have been racking my brains about what could possibly have gone on, and I've got no idea. And I really wish I'd made my own case notes of like every character, how they know each other, what their motives are, where they were, anything that could clear them or put them in the, like, I wish, because if I'd done that, would I know? Would I have formed my own conclusion? I don't know. So I'm going to be doing that the next time we read one of these to see if I can guess who the killer is. At this point, I'm completely in the dark. I've got absolutely no idea. What Poirot has just uncovered or revealed to us all is that Tim Allerton is the jewel thief, but not the murderer. But what is really sweet is that Poirot has let him off. Basically, if he returns the pills, I'll just pretend like I never knew that you'd taken them, and he's sort of letting him get away with it because Poirot has a soft spot for Rosalie Otterborn, and Rosalie Otterborn is in love with Tim Allerton, so he's letting him off so they can be together, which is so sweet. And obviously, like, Rosalie's mother was the one that's just been murdered as well, so like I feel like he kind of feels like he needs to maybe give her a little something. That's adorable. And at this point, Colonel Race is like, come on man, are you going to tell me who it was or not? You just keep telling me who it isn't. Okay, we've just had Poirot's grand reveal, grand walkthrough of what happened. Oh, Cornelia and Dr. B ending up together is super cute. Yeah, I know what's just happened. That was a shocking ending. Okay, it is time for my final thoughts. I will try and keep this brief because I'm aware this video has been long. I don't do it on purpose. I just think I ramble a lot and all of my videos end up really long. So I hope that's okay. I'll try and keep this part brief. But my final thoughts, first of all, on what the river knows. So I've rated this book officially. The rating system that I use is from the Book Roast YouTube channel and it's called the CAWPILE rating system. And basically you rate 7 things out of 10 and then use that score to get your star rating. I think I'm using quite a simplified version of it. I think she's updated it over the years, but head on over to her channel if you're interested in finding out more about it. But I'll tell you how I scored this one. So characters, I gave 9 out of 10. Atmosphere, I gave 9 out of 10. Writing style, I gave 10 out of 10. Plot, I gave 10 out of 10. Intrigue, I gave 10 out of 10. Logic, I gave 9 out of 10. And enjoyment, I gave 10 out of 10. So if you add all those up, you get 67. And then you divide that by 7 to get the average score, which is 9.5 out of 10. And then on the scale, that relates to a 5-star read. So yes, I did officially give this 5 stars. It is my second 5-star read of the year because I do not give 5 stars lightly. Would I have enjoyed this so much if I didn't love The Mummy? Who knows? Maybe not. But as it stands, absolutely loved it. With regards to the sequel, I had a look. So the sequel, Where the Library Hides, has been published, but it's been pretty recently published and so far it's only available in hardback. Why do they do that? I don't know. I so much prefer reading paperbacks and being able to like bend them, stick them in my bag, spill juice on them, like annotate them, not worry about it. And then if I love it, get a special edition hardback to like have as a nice little trophy on the shelf. That's what I'm going to do with this one. I want the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition, which I think I will be purchasing. But that means for the sequel, because I want it in paperback, I'm going to have to wait for the paperback to be released. Which, by the time it's released, it's probably going to be autumn, winter. So realistically, I'm not going to be reading the sequel until next summer because I'm a seasonal reader. So that's a bit annoying, but oh well, it'll be something to look forward to next year. The Death on the Nile. I know throughout the process of reading it, I gave so many spoilers away, but I'm going to hang back from like actually saying on here who done it in case you do want to go and read it after this. So I'm hoping I've left a little bit of some kind of suspense in it for you if you do want to pick it up based on this video. But my ratings for Death on the Nile were characters 8, atmosphere 8, writing style 8, plot 9, intrigue 9, logic 9, and enjoyment 8. So if you add all those together, that gives you 59, and then divide it by 7 to get the average is 8.4, which translates to a 4-star read, which I feel like that was what my gut would have given it anyway. So I think that's pretty accurate. And a 4-star read, let's be honest, is a pretty good book. For the life of me, I could not guess who the murderer was. So I think that's always a good sign of a murder mystery. Next time, like I said, I will be doing case notes from the start, listing all the characters, any possible motives, any alibis, any details. I'm going to be doing a full-on like detective case note study. So let me know like if you want me to do that in a video with you and we can do it together and try and figure out who the murderer is before the end. The next one, I think, the next Poirot that I'll be reading will be Murder on the Orient Express sometime over winter, so let me know if you want me to do that. And as always, thank you very much if you've made it all the way to the end of these videos. I really appreciate it. If you made it all the way to the end, comment and either let me know what your favourite summer read is or what your favourite murder mystery book is, and then maybe I'll get some good ideas to add to my TBR as well. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. Please do like and subscribe if you did enjoy the video, and come and chat to me in the comments down below. Okay, I'll see you next time. Bye!
Yeah.